Vtubing for Dummies.
So you think you might want to be a VTuber? What is wrong with you? Just kidding. Mostly. Deciding you might want to dip your toe into content creation using this new and fascinating technology can be a very exciting time. That said, it's super important that you don't get overly carried away. Have you ever tried content creation before? What about streaming? If you have and you enjoyed it, awesome! This might be a way for you to feel even more comfortable and to better express yourself and your creativity in an increasingly competitive market. If you haven't, that you try your hand at some form of PNG streaming beforehand to make sure that this is something you're actually going to enjoy. Streaming definitely isn't for everyone, and it's better to find that out before you spend any sum of money toward your setup to do so. Next step is to figure out what kind of character you might like to portray yourself as. After you've come up with a couple ideas, I'd highly recommend Googling the idea along with the word VTuber to see if this concept will allow for you to stand out. If standing out isn't important and you're sold on a particular persona, then by all means, you own that demon or cat girl or cat boy. Having definitely done one of those before. Another important thing to consider when you are coming up with a design for your character or working with an artist to do so, refamiliarize yourself with the latest updates to Twitch's, I don't even know what you want to call it, terms of service, I guess. Basically, you gotta make sure that all the animated drawn parts are appropriately covered because, I don't really know. Female body bad.
I'm the richest person ever. I can do whatever I want.
Most artists in the industry will already know what works and what does not. But because it is almost constantly changing, it's always better to just check and recheck to avoid yourself the cost and headache. Patriarchy, man. Daddy Bezos. Next, how into the role are you gonna want to be? Is this character just gonna be a visual representation of basically you? Or would you prefer a more immersive experience where your real world self is never mentioned? Either is perfectly fine, and even somewhere in the middle has worked successfully for other creators, including myself. But it's always good to get a feel for what would make you most comfortable as the potential performer. Are you going to want to try maintaining a voice for this character? If so, try to play around so that you can find something that is comfortable for you to maintain for long periods of time without damaging or straining your vocal cords. Remember, voices are fun, but they definitely aren't necessary for the experience. And even the most seasoned voice actors end up needing to rest their voices from time to time. Like, this is not my usual voice. Normally, like, this is just a, my put on voice. And actually, my voice is like this. It's quite different, and I enjoy the separation myself. And sometimes I wish I hadn't done it at all. But these are the way it goes. This is doing Bo's voice helps me stay in character and helps me leave my real world stuff mostly at the door when I can. Next, you're gonna wanna figure out a name that you'd like to try and go by. Try choosing something that is catchy, easy to type, and most importantly, easy for people to remember. Make sure that this name is as uniform as possible across all your social media accounts for your VTuber. There are websites you can use for this specifically, rather than checking each one individually. If you Google, check username availability. It's really important that you're not using lots of different if you're using like a lot of capitalizations randomly in your name, the thingamabobs and the stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to raid a friend and their name is like, their name is spelled unusually. I end up writing somebody with a very similar name to them that was a little bit more easy to type and that my mind automatically went to. So you really want to make sure that you have a really solid name for your account and channel. Make sure during this process that you also create a business email for your content creation. Use this email to sign up for your varying accounts and services, especially PayPal. This keeps your identity protected and all of your information for your accounts in one place. Next, you're going to want to sit down and figure out what your budget is moving forward. Make sure to keep it in a place where you're comfortable and don't feel pressure to drop a lot of money on expensive assets right out of the gate. Similarly, if you have funds available to you, don't feel bad for wanting to invest in more complex models. Both approaches have their merits and their drawbacks, and at the end of the day, you need to pick a path that is right for you. Once you have a character concept, your accounts, and some sort of artist squared away, start finding ways to engage the community almost immediately. Begin building your brand from the moment you know what that brand is. Some people stick their noses up at VTubers who are pre-debut running around on Twitter. But this is honestly the best way to start carving yourself out a place in this community. Consider PNG streaming prior to your model being ready so that you could potentially hit affiliate before your debut. This way you have a chance to build on your viewership as well as open up to a debut where people are actually able to subscribe to you and show their support. And I would highly attribute my own endeavors hanging out on social media prior to my models being ready that have helped me start off with a nice advantage. Tune in next video where we're gonna discuss some common setups VTubers are using along with some less pricey alternatives to get yourself going. Don't be a dummy. Just be a VTuber. Bye!